20 Ancient Mesopotamia Facts You Need to Know. Welcome to a captivating journey through the annals of history as we delve into the intriguing world of ancient Mesopotamia. In this video, we're about to uncover 20 fascinating facts that will transport you back in time to a land where the foundations of human civilization were laid. From the fertile valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers to the bustling city-states that thrived on their banks, Mesopotamia's legacy is nothing short of awe-inspiring. So, grab a seat and prepare to unearth the secrets of this remarkable cradle of culture, innovation, and human achievement. Whether you're a history enthusiast or simply curious about our shared past, these 20 The word Mesopotamia itself has a long history. The name, which translates as land between rivers, was first used by the ancient Greeks to describe how the Euphrates and Tigris rivers surrounded Mesopotamia. Additionally, they translated the region's Hebrew name, Naarium, using it. The Old Testament's definition of Naarium, Aram between the rivers, is likewise comparable. One of the earliest and most sophisticated alphabets in the world was created by the Mesopotamians. Although we referred to it as cuneiform, the Mesopotamians did not. It refers to how the letters resemble patterns of wedges and denotes writing that is wedge-shaped. The form was a product of the way the Mesopotamians wrote their alphabet on chopped reeds. Cuneiform was created by the Sumerians in the 3rd millennium BC. They also used a more ancient pictographic proto-alphabet from the 4th millennium BC as a model. Successive civilizations carried on using the cuneiform alphabet, including the Babylonians and Assyrians. Cuneiform was also used by nearby cultures, including the ancient Egyptians and others. They utilized it specifically in diplomacy so that people from different cultures could interact and share documents and agreements in a single format. There are still people using Mesopotamian mathematics today. The Sumerians learned to write multiplication tables, as well as division and geometry, making them the first people in history to do so. Later, the Babylonians developed the base 60 notation that is still in use today. They suggested that there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and that a circle has 360 degrees. They also invented the 24-hour day, and although they never completely comprehended zero, they did apply it in context to their math. Pi was a mathematical constant that the Babylonians employed to calculate circle diameter. However, the number they used to calculate pi turned out to be 3.13 rather than 3.14. The science of astronomy was also developed by the Mesopotamians. It was began by the Sumerians, and was carried on by the Babylonians and Assyrians after they finished. Mesopotamian astronomers were able to precisely anticipate eclipses and solstices thanks to their observations of the sky and their sophisticated mathematical understanding. They were also able to create a precise 12-month calendar based on the moon phases thanks to it. Even before Copernicus, the heliocentric idea may have been created by a Mesopotamian. In the 2nd century BC, Seleucus of Seleucia based his research on Aristarchus of Samos' theory. Seleucus, however, provided evidence in favor of the belief that the Earth orbited the Sun rather than the other way around. Although the particular technique he employed is still unknown, archaeologists have found enough artifacts to understand that Seleucus' proof entailed measurements of how the moon's movements affected the tides. The Mesopotamians used a variety of medical techniques. On the one hand, they adhered to the scientific method, determining a patient's diagnosis and prognosis based on physical examinations of their health and symptoms. They also maintained thorough records of their patients' illnesses. They were able to limit the cases down by comparing fresh cases to older ones thanks to this. Additionally, physicians in Mesopotamia wrote prescriptions, giving them control over the medications that their patients were given. On the other side, superstition had a significant role in Mesopotamian medicine. They specifically believed that illnesses or ailments with hazy causes or unproven cures were the result of a curse. Then they would perform exorcisms in an effort to break the curse. The Mesopotamians had polytheistic religion, like many other ancient civilizations. An, the deity of the sky, Enlil, the god of the wind, and Enki, the god of the water, were the three gods that shared the top position. Enki, according to the Mesopotamians, taught humanity the skills it needed to establish civilization. Additionally, they had a god or goddess for each of the 7 most significant celestial bodies. These include Ishtar, the goddess of war, love, and Venus, as well as Shamash, the sun god, Nana, and the moon god. While Nabu reigned over scribes, writing, and the planet Mercury, Nergal ruled over the disease and the planet Mars. The goddess of the beginning of creation, Tiamat, was killed by Marduk, the god of Jupiter. Saturn's god at the time was Ninurta. Only the most significant Mesopotamian deities are depicted there. Others include Ninsun, the mother of the fabled king Gilgamesh of Uruk, and Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld. The Bible was influenced by the Mesopotamian creation story Enuma Elish. To begin with, according to the Enuma Elish, the original creators Apsu and Tiamat existed by themselves over a pitch-black ocean. As described in Genesis, God's Spirit first floated over a pitch-black ocean before creating everything out of nothing. From then, they created everything that is here. Scholars also point out that the creation stories in Enuma Elish are stretched out over 7 clay tablets, just like the creation stories in Genesis, which are divided into 7 days. They have come to the conclusion that the biblical creation account may have drawn inspiration from the Enuma Elish while simultaneously providing a contrast as a result of this. To contrast monotheism and polytheism, God specifically created everything on his own, but Apsu and Tiamat had to collaborate in order to create. They also had a great flood story of their own. It can be found in both the Gilgamesh epic and the Atrahasis, both written in the 18th century BC. The Great Flood is brought on by a god, much like in the biblical tale, to punish humanity. In the Mesopotamian account, however, it wasn't because humanity had turned wicked, rather, it was just because they started to get too noisy. Enki forewarned the human Utnapishtim before the enraged Enlil punished them with a flood. Utnapishtim, with the help of Enki, constructed a boat in which he, his family, their household, and pairs of every animal alive could survive the flood. The gods instantly regretted what Enlil had done when the Great Flood occurred. And as a reward for ensuring the continuation of life on earth, they made Utnapishtim and his wife immortal when it was all over. Gilgamesh later met Utnapishtim to discover the key to endless life as a result of this. The idea of logic was also invented by the Mesopotamians. In particular, the Babylonians were the first people to comprehend logic, which was a reflection of their strict and immovable social structure. They discovered it to be axiomatic as they advanced their logic, in a manner akin to the logical framework created by 20th century economist John Keynes. The Babylonians were likewise open to the idea that external forces might lead logical systems to shift. They also extended the use of logic beyond the realm of academia by applying it to astronomy and medicine. They had an impact on later Greek philosophers as well. Western philosophy, according to contemporary experts, was founded by the Mesopotamians. Their folklore and cultural knowledge, especially in the shape of literature and oral traditions, gave them a foundational understanding of life that eventually gave place to codified ethics. Then, the Babylonians advanced this, creating schools of thought that shared many traits with the Socratic method of Socrates, the Greek sophists, and even Platonic philosophy. Every month, a festival was held by the Mesopotamians. The New Year festival was one of the fixed ones. It always fell on the first full moon following the spring equinox. Celebrations or memorials commemorating historic occasions, such as the founding of their city or a significant victory in the past, were included among other fixed festivals. Other holidays, however, started to vary a lot more, depending on the seasons, the lunar calendar, and, of course, religion. In a Mesopotamian city-state, the king's recent accomplishment also constituted grounds for celebration. The Mesopotamian oud served as the model for later musical instruments. It resembles a guitar and has 11 strings divided into 6 courses. There are several variations with 5 courses and 10 strings as well as 7 courses and 13 strings. According to archaeological data, the oud predated civilization by 5,000 years. It is still in use today in the Middle East, but in Europe it gradually changed into the lute, which later gave way to contemporary keyboard instruments. Gilgamesh was the Mesopotamians' greatest hero. The myth, though, resulted from the historical actions of King Gilgamesh of Uruk in the 2600s BC. In his reign, Uruk dominated the constant wars for power between the city-states of Sumer. He left such an impression not just on the people of his city or even the Sumerians, but in all of Mesopotamia itself, that after he died, they turned his life into a myth and legend. In particular, the Epic of Gilgamesh described him as a demigod, but unlike other demigods, Gilgamesh wasn't just half god and half human. Instead, he became 3/4 god and 1/4 human. In particular, Gilgamesh and his friend Enkidu's adventures slaying monsters, defying the gods, and finally, looking for and even finding immortality, would later go on to influence the ancient Greeks. Some scholars even think Heracles was actually the Greeks trying to present Gilgamesh as a Greek for a Greek audience. To pass the time, the Mesopotamians played a variety of activities. Hunting and a variation of polo in which players ride on the shoulders of others rather than on horses were both very popular among the nobility. The popularity of boxing and wrestling, however, was not limited to the elite, it also spread to the general populace. The royal game of yore, as it was called by archaeologists, was a kind of backgammon invented by the Mesopotamians. But until they learn what the Mesopotamians truly called it, that term will have to do. Their economy was equally intricate. The banks used by the Mesopotamians were the first in human history, and systematic lending and credit systems were provided by temples. At one point in Sumerian history, they even had their own properties, owning up to 1/3 of all the available land. Later, however, the priesthood's lands were diminished by competition from royal and other private landowners. Overall, archaeologists have found parallels between Mesopotamia and EC. The Mesopotamians favored large structures. This was especially evident in their pyramids, even though, unlike the ancient Egyptians, the Mesopotamians never constructed any pyramids with smooth sides. Instead, they constructed ziggurats, which are typically square platforms stacked one upon the other. Then, they constructed alternating stairways on the ziggurat sides, ascending to a temple at the top. A ziggurat therefore resembled a mountain, with the gods residing in the skies at the peak. That and ascending a ziggurat represented ascent to the skies. Modern academics concur that Mesopotamia served as an inspiration for the Tower of Babel described in the Bible. The Etemenanke of Babylon was one of the tallest buildings in the world at the time, measuring between 50 and 90 meters. The first laws in the world were created by the Mesopotamians. The Babylonian Code of Hammurabi is the most well-known, but there are others as well. Even so, it is best known for establishing the eye for an eye rule, which archaeologists read as a sign of growing severness in Mesopotamian legal systems. Hammurabi's code is less strict than earlier rules, notably those created by Sumerian kings like Urukagina and Lipit-Ishtar. As we conclude our journey through these 20 captivating ancient Mesopotamia facts, it's clear that this land of rivers, city-states, and innovation has left an indelible mark on human history. From the invention of writing and the establishment of complex legal systems to the architectural marvels of ziggurats and the enduring stories of epic literature, Mesopotamia's legacy continues to resonate through the ages. By understanding the achievements and challenges of this ancient civilization, we gain a deeper appreciation for the foundations upon which our modern world was built. The echoes of Mesopotamia's advancements in agriculture, technology, governance, and culture still ripple through our societies today. So, as we step back into our own time, let's carry with us the knowledge that the vibrant tapestry of Mesopotamian civilization has woven itself into the fabric of our shared human heritage. We hope these 20 facts have ignited your curiosity and inspired you to explore further, for the lessons of Mesopotamia are a testament to the enduring spirit of human ingenuity and the profound impact that even the distant past can have on our present and future. Thank you,